Hello everyone, for all of those who don't know me, I am Alvida and this is my channel, ACverse. In today's video, I'm bringing you Fakemon inspired characters from an anime that I have been watching. And no, I'm not done with this anime yet. I'm still only in episode 780. Yeah, I'm talking about the great, the one and only One Piece. Awesome anime, by the way. Now, of course, like any anime, you have your heroes of the show, right? Of course. But what is an anime? What is a show if there's only heroes, right? It would be kind of boring, nothing to do, nothing to fight, nothing, no conflict, nothing, just like a life without problems is absolutely boring, right? So what do we need for it? Villains. Ha ha ha. So for this video, I'm not gonna actually be taking or creating Fakemon inspired on the heroes of the show because, well, honestly, a lot of people have already done that and they're way better than I am at making that. Like, I cannot come up with anything good enough to compete against them. So what I'm doing this time that no one has done so far, at least none that I found, I'm turning villains from One Piece into Fakemon. And without any more waits, let's start with the first one. Okay, so for whatever bizarre reason there is, I wanted to go in order. And one of the first villains that we get, if not the first villain that we get in One Piece, is Alvida. So, for Alvida, it was very tricky and difficult. At first, I wanted to do maybe a regional Pokemon, something like Per Ugly maybe, and evolve into that or something like that. Because, you know, Per Ugly is supposed to be fat, big, and ugly, and that's how she's perceived in the beginning of the show. I understand that she gets, Alvida gets Devil Fruit later, and her whole appearance and everything changes. Also, I had no idea how to incorporate her Devil Fruit into this design. So, if I come back to One Piece villains and I get to Alvida with the Devil Fruit, then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do for that. Maybe a Mega Evolution or something, I don't know yet. We'll cross that bridge whenever we get to it. And here is Vidoni.
Vidoni, the Oni Pokemon. Vidoni are barbaric Pokemon that live in herds that are led by the Alpha Vidoni. The way they choose the Alpha is with a two-part beauty pageant. In the first part, they vote for the two prettiest Vidoni, and in the second part, the top two candidates will battle for the top place to become the Vidoni Alpha. The Vidoni Alpha is then fed extra food collected by the herd in exchange for the Alpha's Vidoni leadership battling against other Vidoni herds.
And there is Vidoni. Doesn't she kind of look like the ugliest clown you ever seen? Aww. I'm talking about clowns. Let's move to the next one. He is funny. He is colorful. He is a dumb-witted sociopath that faked it until he made it. He is Buggy the Clown. With such a name as Buggy, it was an easy direction to make. He had to be a bug-type Pokemon. There was no doubt on that. And in fact, in real life, there is such a thing as the Bug Clown Pokemon. Sorry, I meant as a bug clown. Clown bug, I think, yes. But I wanted to take a different direction, something with a stinger. It does have some beetle-like shells to hide its wings, so it's kind of like a mix of different bugs, but it still works, or so I think. I tried to incorporate a few elements to actually make it resemble Buggy the Clown a little bit. And without any more further ado, here is Clownbee.
Clownbee, the clown bug Pokemon. These Pokemon on their own are quite fragile and weak. This is why Clownbee always travel in swarms. When a Clownbee feels threatened, the Clownbee calls its swarm for the backup.
The name Clownbee is very straightforward. It's Clown and Bee. I know Clownbee is not exactly a bee, but it's not a bee either. The colors represent Buggy the Pirate quite well, and the shiny is more to mix in the swarm form for getting a range of different colors. As you can see by the size and the stats, it's not a very threatening Pokemon, but there is where something else comes through. Obviously, as you may know, in One Piece, Buggy the Pirate is able to detach his limbs and everything because of the chop fruit. So I had to come up with some idea to make it work in a Pokemon setting. So here now you can see. So I had a mission to accomplish. I had something to figure out. I need to figure out how to make in Pokemon body parts detach and come back. I mean, you can see that with like ghost types and stuff like that, but I didn't want to do any of that kind of stuff. I wanted to do something more for the bug. And I had a quick thought. Wishy-washy. He has a school form. Technically, he can detach and reattach. So what about we doing something similar for here for Buggy or for Clumpy? But obviously, it wouldn't be a school form because it's not a fish; it's a bug. So we did a swarm form. All right, and with this, I killed two birds with one stone. I got a way to be able to detach and reattach the body parts and everything, and also something that looks more scary and menacing for a closer look to Buggy the Clown from One Piece. And here is Clownby's swarm form.
Clown bee swarm form. When a swarm of clown bee gets together in defense, they cluster in a swarm form. The swarm form makes them a terrifying stronger Pokemon. While in swarm form, clown bee can detach its body parts for longer range attacks.
As you can see, this swarm form makes it pretty big for a bug type Pokemon. So it will be a great asset to have in your team. When I decided I didn't want it to look like wishy-washy school form, like you can see the actual cluster, because I can picture this one by being, bug and steel type to be able to just latch in together, kind of like a transformer thing, so you can see it almost seamless how the whole cluster comes in together into the swarm form, and it still looks terrifying. Is there anything more terrifying than an angry clown? You tell me, maybe poison can be more scary than that. And with that segue, we move to the next one. And now we move to Captain Kuro. To represent Captain Kuro, I was thinking to make a Fakemon based on a cat with blades in his hands, to resemble the whole theme that he presents in One Piece. Now, it occurred to me that we have actually a Pokemon that vaguely resembles that description. Snizzler. Especially because of the lengthy, the body frame and everything, which is perfect for Captain Kuro. Now, could I just show you Snizzler and move on, job well done, whatever, move on to the next? But I thought maybe we can play a little bit with the design. Maybe we can do another version of Snizzler. And here we go. Now we have Isanian Snizzler.
Isanian Snizzler, the Poison Claw Pokemon. Isanian Snizzler evolves from Sneasel in the Isanian region while holding a poison claw at midnight. This rare Snizzler has the nasty habit of poisoning its victims with a very slow poison from its claws. Isanian Snizzlers like to make sure its victim will last long enough to withstand a full beating before they faint from poisoning.
As you can see, for this Snizzler, I wanted to go with a darker version, something that will fit better the character that I'm trying to represent, at least the color. Also, I switched the types to Steel Poison, again, to better represent the character, Captain Kuro, and make sure that there was something behind the claws that would represent everything well played out. I added some green color to enhance the whole poisoning aspect, and I tried to do some shadow around the eyes that will represent the glasses and the forehead marks that Captain Kuro has. And as you can see, we have a couple steel type Pokemon in this video, and this is not the only one, or the only second one. Wait, how would that go? Alright, there's another one. Just hang on tight.
There's actually not one but two steel type left. Regardless, it is time for Don Krieg. Don Krieg is a villain that show up, however, briefly, with lots of gun and a lot of strength. He had no devil fruit powers, just depends on his own strength and guns. Funny enough, the way that he had his guns or his cannons or whatever under his armor, it made me think a lot about Blastoise. But I did not want to do another regional form because one is enough per video, so I'm not gonna fill out the video with regional form. So then I was thinking, well, all the animal I can use for this, and I was thinking, with the shell and everything. So how about a pangolin? Pangolin? You know what I'm talking about. And sure enough, it worked out just fine to me. Also, it looks different than chestnut, so I'm safe on that side. And here I present you Fakemon.
Fakemon, the Cannon Barrel Pokemon. Fakemon is a very stubborn and strong Pokemon that relies on its brute strength and firepower. In ancient times, armies like to use this Pokemon for wars. Rattling dense armor is perfect to defend against any enemy attack, and its cannon barrels provide enough firepower to take down entire towns.
The background name is a combination of the words barrel, Krieg, and pangolin. The reason why I made background still fire is because that's my way to explain firepower of firearms in a Pokemon setting. So to explain the cannons and not exactly bullets because it's Pokemon, but well, I guess they do have bullets. See, huh? Missed out a chance. Anyway, this is my representation with the armor, the metal, and everything. That's why it's steel type, and the firepower it makes it fire. Now the colors in the shiny is to recall the actual colors of Don Krieg in the anime. Moving along to one of the big bad guys from the beginning of the anime is Arlong. Arlong was quite difficult to design Fakemon after him because turns out I'm not that great at doing or drawing shark or fish Pokemon or fish in general, and I couldn't just come up with something clear to do. I even end up looking in some point kind of like a streak shark, and I did not like that too well. So I came up with this other design inspired in some other drawings that I saw somewhere maybe. But even so, I'm not 100% satisfied with this one, but it's the closest thing that I can come up that I'm happy with. And I think it does represent Arlong well enough. And who knows, maybe in the future I can evolve into something representing Cody Jones from the anime itself. But one step at a time, one step at a time. And coming from Arlong Park, we have Arlong.
Arlong, the demon shark Pokemon. Arlong is a very antisocial Pokemon that only gets along with other water dark type Pokemon. Arlong often builds up crews of water dark type Pokemon under its leadership to then bully other Pokemon outside of its crew and steal their Pokeberries.
The name Arlark is a combination of the words Arlong and Park, and also short. Arlark is a dark water type, making more emphasis in dark type over the water type since not all the fishmen in the show are evil. So I'm making more emphasis in Arlark being evil more than being a fishman. The shiny colors is more to represent that dark type, and the normal colors should be close enough to represent the colors of Arlark. Sorry, no, Arlong in One Piece. It is a pretty big size or big enough size Pokemon. In a way, it kind of looks a little more like Jinbei than Arlong, so I might have to use some of that in the future if I visit One Piece as Pokemon. It depends on you guys. It depends if you like it or not. You let me know. But in the meanwhile, this is Arlark representing Arlong from Arlong Park. Alright, the last two characters that we're gonna go with are not exactly villains. This next one is more of an antagonist and is based off Smoke. Now I kinda messed up because when I did this whole drawing, I completely forgot to record it. So I had to improvise something to have something to show. Kinda like a re-record, trace a little bit or whatever. So I could actually have something to show. Smoke was particularly tricky to deal with because it's smoke. So how do I make a Pokemon that is just smoke? So I was thinking something, I took some inspiration from Spiritomb and did something similar to that. I took like an object and made that object basically the Pokemon, and then specifically a Pokemon item, the incense. And then this object would cast this cloud of smoke that will help to define the character more and represent the character, the One Piece character even more. And here is Smosen.
Smosens, the smoke Pokemon. Smosen is a mysterious Pokemon. Experts aren't sure if its attacks come from the smoke body Smosens creates or from its psychic powers. Smosens tend to hide its true body within the smoke it creates, resulting in becoming an extremely evasive Pokemon.
Alright, so the name Smosens is a mixture of the words smoke, smoker as the character that is based on, and incense as the object that I used to represent. Now finding the right type combination for Smosen was difficult because I had so many options. I could have gone with fire because of incense, right? I could have gone grass fire because of burning the incense. I could have used the steel for the jar or whatever shell that the Pokemon is inside. I could have used ghost type. I could have used, because it's an object, I could have used fairy type. So many options. I finally just decided to go with poison because it's smoke and psychic, just to give an oomph of power to the character itself. Just make it a little more stronger, more evasive, and actually be able to control the smoke in a way that it can physically hurt you even though it's not supposed to. Now basically the actual real Pokemon would be inside of the container. No one could actually ever see it because he always hides in smoke, and no one knows how it really looks like. And some people say that there is really no smoke at all. That it's just an illusion that smoke like create cast or people to think that he is a cloud of smoke where he can hide. But who's to know? Uh, uh, I I am to know. I'm the one that designed this. I made him. I know it's actual smoke. Yes, it is. It's confirmed. And now, lastly but never least, we have the legend himself, Mihawk Dracula. Now, for this character, it was easier for me to design since I had a pretty straightforward image in my head. I wanted a hawk that somehow incorporates the swords in it, like, maybe steel type or something like that. So this is what I'm going with. And also, I wanted to add a few elements in the character that will represent Mihawk himself. Now, one thing I was sure about this design was I don't want it to look just like a regular Pokemon, like anything that you can find in Route 1 or anything like that. No disrespect, no hating against it. But I want it to look something more like a legendary Pokemon. So my inspiration was a little bit of Yveltal, which is my favorite legendary Pokemon. And somehow I just came across this design incorporating some colors that are also similar to Yveltal colors, because those are Mihawk's colors. And without any more further ado, I present you Hawkule.
Hawkule, the Precision Blade Pokemon. Hawkule is a very powerful legendary Pokemon. It is said that no one can see its attacks coming. 1 second Hawkule looks at you, the next second a precise lethal blow has already landed. Hawkule never misses an attack regardless of any status change. Any attack from Hawkule is calculated, doesn't miss, and has the right amount of strength that is needed.
Now, Hawkule's name might have sounded perfect when I came up with it, but the more I hear it, the more I say it, the more I think it's a very unfortunate name, and it's too late for me to change it. I'm sorry, it is done. It is Hawkule. Hawkule's name is on some type of an amalgamation of the names Mihawk and Dracula, which is the character that I'm basing this Pokemon on. Like I said before, I tried to incorporate the colors of Mihawk into Hawkule and some elements from the character itself, like the goatee. The elements are in there. There is some blades, some stuff in the wings that represent swords. The tail, the tail feather, if you can call it that, it represents or is slightly shaped like the sword that Mihawk used. Now, obviously, Mihawk being the amazing character that it is, it couldn't be just a regular Pokemon. So this is why I decided to make it a legendary one. So now's the time. Just let me know, what do you think about all these villains? Are they cool enough? Could they be in your party? Would you use them in Pokemon? I know I would, or at least a couple of them.
Well, that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed just as much as I did. And always remember, always be yourself. Bye.